Thanks very much, and thanks to everyone so far. I thought Frances was going to get carried away when she got you all stood up and linking arms, and suddenly discovered an anarchist streak, and we were all going to go out into the street and destroy the House of Commons. But that's what they wanted, Frances. This has come together, I suppose, because it's become more and more obvious that there is an idea that's dominating the way the country is run. The government runs the country, it seems, with this idea that there is so much debt now. Debt. We've got to get all the debts back. And there's only one group of people that clearly have got the money that we can get the debt back from. It's the poor. The poor have got all the money in this country, so it only stands to reason that they're the people we can get it back from. Because it's now, it seems to me, I've never done economics, but it seems to me that mainstream economics now, the first lesson is that the poor are richer than the rich. And not only that, but they're the ones that caused the banking crisis, the poor. The rich couldn't cause it, it was nothing to do with them, it was the poor, it was lollipop ladies and firefighters and teachers and people in A&E lying on trolleys and then waking up out of their coma for 10 minutes to speculate £500 million on the yen, losing all the money. So, it just makes perfect sense that these bastards who've been robbing us, that they have their trolleys taken off them, and they have their schools shut down, and that they are told that they can't have a bedroom that happens to be the end of their house, that nobody is in it for a few hours a day. Because these are the people, you can't expect the rich haven't got two halfpennies to rub together, we know that. They're spending all day in the stock market and then they're having to spend the evenings delivering Domino's pizzas to make ends meet. You can't expect them to pay for it. It's the poor who've got all the money. And that's why, I'm very grateful to the Daily Mail, because I have to write a column every week where I have to try and take the piss out of ridiculous, stupid, maniacal things that people say. And the Daily Mail always helps me out. And if you get the Daily Mail, you will see, exactly as Owen was saying, trying to blame each other, the poor, the someone poorer, it's their fault. Every week a story. You see this woman in a council estate who's on benefits and she's got 185 kids and every single one of them's on benefits, and then they bought a giraffe and now the giraffe's on benefits. And then she complained because the giraffe was getting a crick neck because the ceiling was too low, so they put her up in St Paul's Cathedral, and now she says all the kids have got compulsive snooker syndrome, so the town hall has come round and delivered a snooker table, but the woman says she can't be the referee because she's allergic to white gloves, so the mayor has to come round and count up all the points, otherwise he'll be put in jail by Europe, and so on, and so on. And the excuses, and this is partly the fault of the fact that there hasn't been a coherent alternative voice that's put itself in the mainstream, the excuses that they think they can get away with. Lord Jones, who was head of the Confederation of British Industry, when he was talking about yet more bankers' bonuses, 7 billion a year in bankers' bonuses after the crash, after you've buggered everything up, you then still go, well, we still got to have our 7 billion a year. And Lord Jones justified this. He said, well, in the year that the bankers' bonuses went down slightly, they received not one jot of praise. Heartless. We're heartless. We don't praise them for their... It's like saying the great train robbers, we all complain about the year they did do a train robbery, but all the years they didn't rob a train, they received not one jot of praise. And so... ever more inventive are the genius pieces of cruelty that they come up with. The bedroom tax. What warped mind came up with this? To decide that the poorest people, if there's a little bit of a house, and so we can't possibly have a mansion tax, George Osborne said, and this was his reasoning. He said we can't have a mansion tax because it would be extraordinarily difficult to calculate. Because the mansion tax would be for properties worth more than £2 million. And I could see that would be very, very difficult. If you go around most council estates, you'd have to have someone with a clipboard going around each one individually to see whether each flat was worth more than £2 million. Because you never know, maybe Picasso painted the walls, you don't know. And so this piece of cruelty goes on. And yet, there is something, I think, that we should remember all the time. We're not helpless. Even up until now, the voice against it hasn't been helpless. Just for example, the words the bedroom tax. They hate it. They didn't want it to be called the bedroom tax, but so many people have complained and protested about it, have written about it. Now in almost every area, I travel around the country and you see the local papers. In almost every paper, every week in the local areas, there's people complaining about the bedroom tax, and there's various people highlighted who are going to be particularly hit by it. And the government and the people who came up with it hated it. They thought that they would just be able to get away with calling it, I can't even remember what they were supposed to call it, so much of a failure has it been. Various campaigns around the country, the magnificent demonstrations in South London to try and defend the Accident Emergency Unit in Lewisham. Fantastic. It didn't succeed, but it didn't entirely fail either, because the government, the local authorities, they had to say, well, we are going to protect some of it and so on. It's one thing that you can never say exactly what would have happened in the other universe where there was no protest, but what you can say is if there had been no protest, it would have been much worse. And that is the same around the country over and over again. And I think that is the thing that we can all remember, that even up until now, the protests that there are, every little complaint that there is, means that it's better for our side and worse for their side than if there was nothing. And that's why also something else I think that we should remember over the course of the day. I mean, because it's been a long time really coming this, 3 years into this government that's done the most outrageous things, so many protests. At last, I think there is a real hopeful chance from today that we're going to be bringing the protests together, that we're going to be putting them into some sort of united, coherent world in which we are able to project a voice to say to lots more people there is an alternative and it is worth joining it, and if you join it then we can win. And just two final things I'll say about that. One thing is that we do have to, I mean, you think of the brilliant, compassionate, talented people that are on our side. We ought to be able to make ourselves look attractive. Sometimes in the past, the left hasn't always done that, if we're being honest. And I think this is a brilliant opportunity now to change some of the habits over the last few years. I would hope that today there's not going to be the thing. I think everyone's going to go away thinking, what's a fantastic day, because we need to be together. And if you listen, I mean, it's only the left that's done this in the past. You listen to someone for an hour, you think, I agreed with 59 minutes and 50 seconds of what they say. So I know what I'll do. I'll spend the next 5 weeks having a row with them about the 10 seconds. And the way I'll do it is I'll go down to a meeting where they're speaking at and I'll yell at them. That might persuade them and bring them round. I think those days are gone. And the final thing I'll say, very final thing I'll say is this. It is said that in politics you can't win unless you win over the middle ground. This is something that politicians and journalists and people that seem to know about how politics works, they all agree on that. And maybe there is something in that, I don't know. But what they don't say is that the middle ground changes. The middle ground doesn't stay the same from 1 year to the next. Just one quick example. 20 years ago, if you were in favour of gay marriage, you were considered an extremist. Now, quite rightly, you're considered an extremist if you're against it. It's changed. And it's not changed. And it's not changed automatically. It's changed because first hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands, and now millions of people, bit by bit, stood up, often in very difficult circumstances, very courageously, and said, I don't care if I'm in a minority, I'm going to put this case and stand up for what is right. And I think this is the beginning now of people putting an alternative, coherent voice to the filth that comes out of the people at the top of society, so that we can make the middle ground, what is quite clearly the middle ground, that when people are poor and desperate and vulnerable and they have done nothing whatsoever to cause chaos in the society, that they should not be the people who are blamed and lambasted and impoverished because of it. That ought to be the middle ground. That they are the extremists. That they are the extremists, that cutting schools and hospitals and fire stations and cutting rights for the disabled, that is extreme. What we are supporting is the middle ground. And one day, I'm sure, just as gay marriage now seems like eminently sensible to anyone who is eminently sensible, similarly, people will look back on the period of austerity and say, what the bloody hell were those maniacs doing?